If you've ever replaced a fence post that rotted out in under 10 years, or watched a modern deck fail long before it should have, you've already encountered the mystery. Meanwhile, timber beams from ancient bridges, medieval halls, and early ships still survive after centuries of exposure. These were not preserved with modern chemicals, plastics, or pressure treatment. The builders who shaped them did not accept rot as inevitable. They treated decay as an enemy that could be defeated if you understood how wood actually dies. The ancient trick that made wood rot-proof for generations was not a single ingredient, but a deliberate process that transformed wood into a hostile environment for fungi, moisture, and insects long before rot could begin. Ancient builders knew that rot is biological, not magical or inevitable. Rot does not happen because wood is old. It happens because living organisms consume it. Ancient carpenters understood this through observation. They saw that wood failed fastest where water lingered, where air could not circulate, and where sap-rich outer layers were left exposed. Instead of sealing wood after construction, they prepared it before it ever became part of a structure. This thinking appears clearly in Roman and medieval sources, including the writings of Vitruvius, who emphasized timber seasoning and placement as essential to longevity. Wood that was rushed into use was already halfway to failure. The process began with time, not tools. The first step in ancient rot-proofing was patience. Trees were felled in winter when sap content was lowest. Logs were then left to season slowly, often for years, protected from rain but fully exposed to air. This drying period starved future fungi of moisture and sugars. Modern lumber skips this entirely, moving from forest to construction site in just weeks. Ancient builders would rather wait than rebuild. Controlled fire transformed wood into something rot could not easily consume. Once seasoned, critical structural wood was often treated with fire. This was not burning for strength or appearance. It was surface charring done slowly and intentionally. The heat drove out remaining moisture, closed surface pores, and altered the chemistry of the outer wood layers. Charring breaks down hemicellulose, the component fungi consume first. What remains is carbon-rich material that resists biological attack. Archaeological evidence shows this technique used across cultures, from Europe to Japan, long before modern science explained why it worked. Resin and tar sealed the victory where fire left off. Immediately after charring, while the wood was still warm, ancient builders applied resin-based coatings. Pine tar, pitch, or thick oils derived from conifers were brushed or rubbed deeply into the surface. This practice is well documented in Northern Europe, particularly in shipbuilding traditions preserved through finds like the Viking vessels studied by the University of Oslo. Heat allowed the resin to penetrate instead of just sitting on top. Once cooled, the coating hardened into a flexible, water-repellent layer that did not crack under movement. This combination is really the heart of the ancient trick. Fire made the wood inhospitable. Resin made it inaccessible. Together, they denied rot organisms everything they need to survive. Architecture completed the system by, keeping wood dry and breathing. Ancient builders never assumed treatment alone was enough. Wood was lifted off the ground on stone pads. Beams were placed where air could circulate freely. Roofs were designed with wide overhangs to keep rain away from walls. Lime mortar and ash were used near timber ends, creating alkaline conditions that discouraged insects and decay. Preservation was holistic. Every decision supported the same goal: keep water moving away and air moving through. You can still apply this ancient method today with some practical steps. If you are building raised beds, fence posts, sheds, or outdoor furniture, the same principles apply. Start with untreated solid wood, preferably heartwood. Let it dry thoroughly. Use a torch or open flame to char the surface evenly until it darkens but does not crack. While the wood is still warm, brush on pine tar or a pine tar and raw linseed oil blend to improve penetration. Allow it to soak, then cure for several days. When installing posts, keep treated sections above ground and rest them on gravel or stone rather than burying them directly in soil. This is exactly how ancient builders kept wood standing for generations. We abandon this method because, well, it values longevity over speed. Modern construction prioritizes efficiency, not endurance. Pressure-treated lumber is fast, standardized, and honestly, disposable. Ancient preservation required time, observation, and care. But the evidence is still standing all around us. Cathedrals, barns, ships, and bridges built with this method outlasted entire civilizations. The ancient trick was never lost, it was simply ignored. If you value real history, tested knowledge, and techniques that still work in the real world, then this channel is for you. Subscribe to Past to Live, share this with someone who builds with their hands, and help keep practical history alive for the generations that come next.